All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Supreme Court of Florida is now in session. All who have cause to plead, draw near. Give attention. It shall be heard. God save the United States, great state of Florida, and its honorable court. Ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court of Florida, please be seated.
Good morning and welcome to today's session of the Florida Supreme Court. Our first matter today is case number 20-605, inquiry concerning Judge Barbara Kaye Hobbs. Judge Hobbs, as you know, you are here today to receive a public reprimand from our court, along with a $30,000 fine, a 60-day suspension without pay, and a requirement that you attend an employee management program. This reprimand resolves Judicial Qualifications Commission charges that were originally filed against you 2 years ago. Our court is imposing this discipline after our review of the report and recommendations of a JQC hearing panel. That panel in this court afforded you an opportunity to be heard, and you are only being held responsible for the charges proven against you by clear and convincing evidence. The evidence at your hearing showed that you committed 2 forms of misconduct. First, after your adult son was arrested on a possible criminal charge, you purported to serve as his attorney, and you actively represented him during a police interview. Second, even after having been counseled by your chief judge, you repeatedly failed to effectively supervise your judicial assistant. That inaction led your judicial assistant to commit ethical breaches of her own, sitting at counsel's table during a judicial hearing involving your son, and improperly giving your son unsupervised access to non-public areas of your courthouse. Although these acts of misconduct are distinct, they share a common denominator. You allowed personal attachments and loyalty to overcome your ethical obligations as a judge. These actions violated the canons of judicial conduct, which are the ethical rules of the road for judges. There are canons that explicitly prohibit judges from practicing law and that require judges to properly supervise their staff. And most fundamentally, the canons demand that judges avoid impropriety and uphold the integrity of the judiciary. Through the misconduct that I have described, you breach these foundational duties. Our court's written opinion in your case acknowledged that your misconduct occurred in the context of a challenging and stressful time for your family. I note that again today. The record also showed that you had no prior disciplinary infractions as a judge or as an attorney. And at your hearing, several witnesses testified to your high standing in and service to the community. These mitigating factors partly explain why our court decided that your misconduct, while serious, does not warrant removing you from the bench. In addition to serving as a form of discipline, this reprimand allows our court to publicly reaffirm the high ethical standards that bind all members of the judiciary. When we become judges, we voluntarily accept ethical constraints on our behavior, especially the duty to subordinate our private interests and concerns to our obligations as public servants. At a very basic level, we need to behave in a way that earns the trust of the people of Florida. They deserve reasons to have confidence in our judgment. Otherwise, we judges cannot effectively fulfill our constitutional role. Judge Hobbs, I hope that our court will never again encounter you in these unhappy circumstances. This concludes your public reprimand, and you may leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're next going to take up case number 21-1001, Wells versus the State of Florida. But before we get to that, I wanted to acknowledge and recognize our colleague, Justice Alan Lawson, who is retiring from the bench effective later today. This is his last oral argument. I just want to thank you on behalf of the court and the people of our state for your great service. Justice Lawson has been on our court since 2016. Before that, he served for 10 years or so as a District Court of Appeal judge, including service as chief judge. Also, he served as a circuit judge in Orlando. And he's really been a phenomenal public servant. You know, everybody who serves on our court leaves their mark through the cases they've worked on, through the way that they've worked to support the branch. But they also leave a mark on our colleagues, on all the rest of us. And I know that everybody who served with Justice Lawson is better for it. You're a great personal role model. You're a great role model as a judge. And we will really miss you. And we're very grateful to have had the blessing and the privilege of working with you for